Hello, welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. As we come to chapter 25 of the book of Proverbs, we encounter a little change. Verse 1 tells us, "These also are the Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah, transcribed." Apparently, these were not a part of Solomon's original document. They were proverbs known to be Solomon's, proverbs known to be just as inspired as Solomon's, but not a part of that original composition. Now, was this something he actually wrote specifically for his son? Well, that's a possibility, because the first part of this chapter is definitely instructions that Rehoboam would need when he became king. Now, I will say, apparently, when we read the book of Kings, we find out that Rehoboam did not listen, that it basically went in one ear and out the other. But at any rate, Solomon was inspired to write this material and guide his son. You know, a lot of times we write things, we instruct our children, and yet they don't listen. But verse 11 is interesting. "Like apples of gold in settings of silver is a word spoken in right circumstances." Oh, it's so important, folks, that we think before we speak, that we're careful how we say what we say and when we say it. And that's what Solomon's saying. To be artful with what we say to people is so very important. It really is. It is so very important. And so we need to be people who are very, very, very careful about what we say to others and how we say it to others. But then, verses 21 and 22, he picks up on a theme that he has already addressed in the book of Proverbs, telling us how to react to our enemies. He says, if your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. Think about it. Doing good to our enemies may be a way of turning our enemies into friends. But even if it does not, it is still God's way. God will see it. God will reward us accordingly. Now, in the ancient world, a pagan empire actually practiced this. The Persians came in, and of course they conquered the Babylonians, who had in turn conquered the nation of Judah. And one of the first things Cyrus did was allow all the captive peoples that Babylon had taken to return to their homeland, from which Babylon had deported them. That was unheard of in the ancient world. And yet, quite honestly, it had the effect that Cyrus hoped it would have upon those peoples, because it helped the Persian Empire maintain a degree of peace for years and years. Judah didn't want to rebel against them. Tyre didn't want to rebel against them, because they'd been allowed to go back home and rebuild their homelands. And even today, when we do good for our enemies, if something positive like this does not happen, Solomon still tells us God sees, and God knows what we have been doing and what we have been trying to do. And so we keep doing good. Then in verse 27, it is not good to eat much honey, nor is it glory to seek out one's own glory. Oh, there are some people that they're going to tell you how great and wonderful they are. They're going to tell you all their accomplishments, all their deeds, all their doings. They want you to know all about it. The only person we need to please with our deeds and our doings is God. We want Him to honor us. We want Him to glorify us. Jesus told us a lot of things we do, we need to do behind the scenes. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand's doing. And so on. Going around trying to receive human glory and human accolades, that's not what's important in life. It's pleasing God. It's living lives that are acceptable to Him. It's trying to be people that honor and glorify Him. That's what's important. That's what we need to be about. That's what you and I need to be doing. And so let's strive to do so. Let's strive to be people that do good. But we don't go around, as Jesus said, the hypocrites did, announcing everything we do. We just simply go about doing the Lord's work the way the Lord wants us to do His work. And may He help us accomplish that work.